Are the Patriots, or after the Patriots loss to the Colts on Saturday night NFL football, which just sounds weird in itself, are you more or less sold on Mac Jones? Now, I'm going to start first with this one.
Sure.
Mac Jones did not play well at all in the first half, right? A pretty egregious interception that he threw that, Leonard picked him off. I think on Darius Leonard picked up about 5 or 7 yard line. He just didn't see him. Ball didn't have nearly enough smoke on it to be throwing it at the part of the field where he was throwing it. Just didn't play well in the first half. I didn't feel like he answered the challenge that started even before the game, where Brian Okereke was calling him out and saying, "We're gonna make Mac beat us. We're gonna make him beat us." But in the second half, my man Mac clicked on crazy. He clicked on crazy, and you know what was in he helped cut the lead down to 3. It was 20-17. The Patriots needed another stop, and then they give the ball back to what had become at that point a red hot Mac Jones, who would have had a chance to pull off an epic fourth quarter comeback. It was 20-0 heading into the fourth quarter. It was 20-17 at that point. But Dante Hightower, who is about Dante Mid-Tower at this point, missed a crucial tackle in the hole that turned into a 67-yard touchdown run for Jonathan Taylor and a crushing loss. But second half Mac Jones made me more confident in him moving forward than anything else, because what I loved was his bounce back after struggling in the first half. That showed some, I do this with my kids when we're, I coach some high school basketball, and I do this with my kids when they make a humongous play or they show like some resolve.
Or you don't do the LeBron James?
Match the heart, because I recognize what kind of resilience is required to come back from certain kinds of situations. And only dogs do that. Only dogs do that. Mac Jones is a dog.
Wow.
He's an odd looking little nerdy dog, but he is a dog. And I have got to give him his props for the way he bounced back, gave his team a chance to win. And other thing I was really impressed about, through early part of this year, when Mac Jones would make an error, he looked like his whole world was about to crush. He looked like literally like he's about to cry. He threw that interception to Darius Leonard, walked over to the sidelines, took a seat, very aware of his body language, very, very aware of that whole concept, came back in the second half and played his butt off. I feel like he clinched Offensive Rookie of the Year with that performance, even though they didn't win. And to me, I was more sold than ever after that particular performance. I can't wait to hear what Paul Boyd Green has been.
Yeah, good.
You know what, Brian? I've given you enough crap about Mac Jones. It's time to put some respect on his name. I mean, what resilience to fight back and lose by 10. Wow. You know what? That's the kind of leader that I'm looking for. A kind of guy that says, boys, hey, what's the spread on this game? We're gonna work our way back, baby, and we're gonna lose respectably. We're the New England Patriots, for Pete's sake. Wow. That's the kind of resilience. You know what? Offensive Rookie of the Year, lock it up for whole Mac Jones. To answer the question, am I more or less confident in Mac Jones, or whatever the hell the question was?
You threw it out.
How the hell can I be more confident? I just don't understand the narrative. This is what I don't get. Mac Jones, right? He throws a pick. Okay, he gets a little crap during the game. Greg Olsen and Kevin Burkhardt are on the call. So he gets a little crap for the interception. Of course, he threw a terrible interception. Then when he like throws routine incompletions or like slides, wow, what a slide! Wow, he really slid, man. What a smart play, Mac Jones. And I'm like looking. There's no one else in my living room, but I'm looking around like, what the hell? What are we watching here? Zach Wilson throws a touchdown. Yeah, it was wide open though. But like all these rookie quarterbacks are being compared, it just feels like Justin Fields. Name them all, Trey Lance, anybody. It just feels like Mac Jones is for some weird reason getting the benefit of the doubt all the time. I feel less confident in him. I just feel like if the Colts thing happens in the playoffs, right? Because the Patriots are going to the playoffs. There's no question about it. And if they get in a position where they're down a lot, I don't think they're capable of coming back, quite frankly. I think they're capable of coming back and losing by 10 points, sure. That plan has been figured out. But I think actually coming back and winning a football game, I don't think Mac Jones has it. I think he lacks the it factor. I think he lacks the juice, lacks the sizzle necessary to rally the troops because he's done a great job in a perfect position. Most of the time, the defense has played very well. The piece around him played well. He hasn't had to fight back from deficits. And he had a chance to prove the narrative. And Jonathan Taylor had other plans. And also, Mac Jones didn't have enough plans that first half to do enough where he didn't have to make the crazy 20-point comeback. If he did anything in the first half, the Patriots are winning this game, and we're still talking about the hottest team in football. We're not talking about that on this show, are we, boys?
I think your assessment is so egregiously unfair that it literally sickens me. Like I'm at the point of vomiting because of how egregiously unfair it is. I mean, there's no mention at all to the lack of weapons. Very similar to what happened with, not quite as bad, but very similar to what Cam Newton had to deal with last year. He doesn't have there's no dynamic run after the catch guy. He's playing without his top running back. The Colts, let's not trip. The Colts front seven is filthy. This is a filthy defense up front. Mr. Buckner might be the most underrated defensive lineman in the NFL. He's in the conversation. He's in the conversation because this dude is so disruptive. Whether his hands in the dirt, he's standing up. He allows the Colts to do so many things defensively with their front seven. But even through all that, Mac Jones finds a way to get this popping in the fourth quarter. It was late in the third when the drive started to put 17 points on the board really quick. I don't know. I think you're high. And
I'm just going to say, I thoroughly enjoyed
he's on eggnog. He's
thoroughly enjoyed that. The Patriots losing in primetime, getting smacked around. I'm going to be honest. America celebrated on Saturday night. It was beautiful. Yeah. Drink those tears.
I think Boy Green is for the strong weed is what that means because I think you're high. Mr. Sanudo, what do you say?
Damn, this is tough. I'm gonna go I'm not gonna say more, I'm not gonna say less, I'm just gonna say inconclusive for this segment. I mean, because I really can't really tell with Mac Jones. Look, I'll give him some credit. He played better in the second half, but of course, defenses are gonna play different when they're up. So that's pretty much what the Colts have been doing. I remember the Jets game earlier in the year. I think they were down by a lot to the Jets, but you saw Josh Johnson tear them apart. Well, guess what? Defenses play different when it comes to the third and fourth quarters. In the first half, Mac Jones was egregious. Like you just said, he was egregious. He wasn't really reading the defense for a couple plays. So look, I gotta say, when you look at the Patriots schedule, how many games have you really said that's really tough for a rookie quarterback to go in there and win on their own? I haven't really seen that with Mac Jones. I've seen them play terrific defense. I've seen their running backs play tremendous throughout the year, but I really haven't seen Mac Jones, take it, from one side to the other, basically doing it on his own. So I'm not less sold. I'm not more sold. I need to see more, honestly. And look, people can still say, oh, Mac Jones is the best quarterback in the rookie class. You're not saying much. You're not really saying much because you're looking at Lawrence, you're looking at even Fields tonight before the garbage time. There really hasn't been any rookie quarterbacks that have stood out. I need to see more out of him. I think obviously the year two, I expect Mac Jones to play better, but that game against the Colts, I'm not really too impressed, to be honest with you. I mean, I wasn't really like out of my chair saying, wow, that's Mac Jones right there. I mean, I think the only play I will say was the jump ball to N'Keal Harry, but that was like a jump ball. I basically could have done that. I could have thrown like a 50-yard.
You could have did it.
I could have done that.
Really?
You could have did it.
I could heave it up.
We need to see YouTube.
Wow.
Good. Great. Go get it, N'Keal Harry. So it wasn't really a tight window.
Wow.
Look, I'm not really, yeah, I went there.
Freaking wow.
Way to go, Sanudo.
I went there.
Ryan says he could have thrown the jump pass.
Oh,
I mean,
to N'Keal Harry.
Sounds like dude perfect.
With pass with freaking Brenston Buckner bearing down in your chest.
The force buckner.
You would have got it in there.
I could have done that in my sleep.
Boy, it's some good weed being passed around between Paul and Ryan Sanudo. Y'all have got to start to like distribute this amongst other people. Open up your own strand or something, because you guys are just blazing over here. Mr. Rayner, what do you say?
Brian, you mentioned how Mac Jones is a dog. I'll add, he has that Alabama grit. Nick Saban taught him well. I did see some resiliency out of Mac Jones. And you know what? I also saw a Mac Jones who was educated on that night against an AFC contender. You know what? This is good for Mac Jones. This is good for the rookie. It's a learning experience going against a stout defense that's led by a defensive lineman in his prime, an inside linebacker in his prime. And you know what? New England wasn't asking Mac Jones to be Tom Brady 2.0. They're asking him to be Mac Jones. And you know what? He showed what he could do, even though they lost. He showed what he could do when it comes to trying to see what kind of resiliency he has. Because that game could have been disastrous. That game could have been one-sided. And so I did see some fight and grit out of Mac Jones. And so, I mean, to me, it's like, I mean, I'm sold, but it's like I feel like New England's in the position where they're not asking him to do too much anyway. I mean, I feel like that year 2, year 3, that's when they're going to pile up the playbook. They're going to try to cater around him. So, I think it's like one of those learning experiences. If anything, this was the equivalent of Mac Jones taking one of his hardest finals. And he struggled in the beginning, but then his light bulb clicks. He remembers what he studied, and then he finishes that final as strong as he could.
Well, I was a little dazed from the exhibition of absolute ridiculousness that was coming from Paul and Ryan, and I called DeForest Buckner Brenston Buckner. Brenston Buckner is actually a former.
He's a retired player.
He's a
retired Pamper.
He's a coordinator now. So I just had to correct myself. But this is what happens when you get distracted by lunacy. It'll do that. It makes you don't know what's going on. You're getting your Buckners mixed up because people are so crazy. This is what happens.